Hey, my friend Adam here. I asked 1,000 different business owners what their single biggest marketing challenge or frustration was, and I was expecting to get completely different answers, but I didn't. Pretty much every single response that I got pointed to the exact same thing: customer acquisition and customer retention. Technically two things, but it really comes down to getting and keeping customers. Because if you're not able to consistently and predictably get and keep customers for your business, well, you don't really have a business after all. You just have a really expensive hobby that takes up all your time and completely ruins your life. Anyway, fact of the matter is, if you do not have a predictable and consistent way to get clients on demand, to keep them around, to keep encouraging them to give you referrals and recommendations and testimonials, then you don't really have a long-term sustainable business. So my goal for this video is very simple, and that is to fix that for you once and for all. After all, over the past decade plus of working with everyone from small solopreneurs up to billion-dollar brands like Google and Meta and Amazon, I've seen that those who are able to consistently crack the code on customer acquisition and retention are able to scale to the moon and beyond. Those who don't figure this out, they struggle. They float from one tactic to another. They feel like marketing never works. They feel overwhelmed and frustrated. And I want better for you. So with that said, let's start at the top. Why does predictable customer acquisition actually matter? Why is this a thing? Why can't we just have really great services or really great products and just expect customers to know about this? Actually, on that note, that's probably one of my biggest frustrations in all of marketing is this build it and they will come myth. The belief that the best products, the best services, the best businesses win. I wish that was the case, but statistically, it's just not. And if history has taught us anything, it's that it's not the best business that wins, it's the business with the best marketing. Is that fair? No, of course not, but that's the reality, and we live in the real world, so we might as well understand and operate by the rules that the real world has supplied for us. The fact is, businesses with predictable customer acquisition and retention systems, they scale faster, they grow way more sustainably, they have higher revenues, they have more consistency, they're able to essentially remove a lot of the stress that so many small business owners experience on a day-to-day basis. That's what really this is about. I mean, it's one thing to talk about increasing profits and increasing revenues and helping you achieve all of your financial goals. That's amazing. Of course, we want to do all of those things and more. However, I don't think enough is said about the amount of pain that we can alleviate by implementing these systems. So on one side, we've got all of the bonuses and the positives that we're going to get by implementing all of these. On the other side, we have all of the negatives that we're simply going to remove from your life by putting in sustainable, consistent systems. After all, if you're no longer experiencing these feast and famine roller coasters of 1 month you're doing great and you've got a lot of clients and revenue coming in, and the next month you're scrambling and you're wondering what went wrong, there's a lot to be said about getting rid of that from your life once and for all. Not to mention, when you're operating from a place of, we'll get a little bit woo-woo here, but when you're operating from a place of abundance, and I don't just mean this belief of abundance all around, I mean like actual, literal, tangible abundance, having enough cash flow to cover all of your costs and then some, having more than enough revenue coming in, you're not forced to make these sort of gut reaction panic decisions where you try all kinds of crazy, wild ideas, just sort of these Hail Marys where you hope something finally works. We want to avoid all of that. In fact, if I were to stress one point to you, it would be that marketing should be boring and predictable and incredibly profitable. If you're trying all these new exciting things and you're going out there and having a blast every day and you're over here and you're over there and you're over there and every day is something new and exciting, I'm willing to bet that it's not working as well as you were hoping it would. So my suggestion is let's keep marketing as boring and basic and simple and repeatable and scalable as possible, and then you can go out there and have all the fun you want in some other area of your life. But for now, let's focus on making some money. So step number one to this entire system is really identifying your most profitable customer acquisition channels. Now, this is going to ruffle some feathers because there is a lot of talk these days. There's been a lot of talk for years about this, but about this need to be omnipresent, how you need to be everywhere all of the time. You need to show up repeatedly. You need to create multiple touch points with your ideal customers and clients. And you need to create these prolific, unbelievable amounts of content. I'm talking 3 to 5 reels and shorts a day, 20 TikToks a day, in unlimited stories for all of the different platforms. You need long form YouTube videos. Throw a podcast in there too. Don't forget a blog. You need that too. Do some interviews, do some PR, all of the things. But if you've got a business to run, you know that that is not only completely unrealistic and unachievable, it's also exhausting and overwhelming. And most importantly of all, it's unnecessary. All that strategy does of trying to be everywhere and do all of the things is waste your time and waste your energy. You're much better off to be incredibly strategic and laser focused on where you're going to get the best bang, the biggest bang for your marketing buck. Where are you going to be able to invest the least amount of time, energy, and money and get these absolutely disproportionately positive returns? The way that I like to think of it is we're looking for tiny hinges that swing large doors. Another way to look at this is the 80-20 rule, or Pareto's principle. What are the 20% of things that you're able to do that are going to deliver 80% of the results? And time after time, we have seen this come true. Not even just 80-20, but today we're probably more in the world and the realm of 90-10, where 10% of the things that you're going to do are going to yield 90% of the results. Sometimes it's 95-5 if we're able to continue repeating this process. So let me break this down, draw a couple notes for you here and really try to hammer this point home, because if you get this, everything else is going to become 5 times, 10 times, 100 times easier. I know that sounds extreme, but I've seen it time and time again. All right, so the very first thing that we do have to understand is that we really are operating in a couple different decision matrices. We've got to decide where we're going to spend our time. We have choices like offline platforms, newspapers, radio, television, billboards, direct mail, things like that. For the most part, for 99% of businesses, I'm going to say today, we can pretty much safely avoid these. Not because they don't work, simply because they're not as effective. They're certainly not as cost effective as all of our online options and the alternatives we have. So if you want to do direct mail or magazine postings or radio or newspaper or anything like that, I'm not going to discourage you from doing it, but we've got to take advantage of all of the online opportunities first, simply because they're better. You're just going to make more money. So when it comes to online, again, we have almost an overwhelming amount of options. We have, of course, your website, of which we could do search engine optimization. We have social, which opens up just this massive rabbit hole of different platforms, right? We've got TikTok, we've got Instagram, we've got Facebook and LinkedIn, and we've got YouTube, we've got Twitter. The list goes on and on. Each of those has 2 different paths as well. We've got organic, where we can just post content, and we have paid, all of the paid ads. Think Google ads, think Facebook ads, Instagram ads, things like that. After that, we've got email. This is where I really want to focus, though, is on these sort of 3 areas. In fact, web we're going to take and we're going to turn it into more of a landing page and a funnel, but more on that in just a minute. But this is where I want you to focus your time. Really, 1, 2, and 3. We're going to talk more about customer acquisition and how to set up a funnel in just a second. But for now, if we have a relatively decent online presence through some kind of website or landing page or area that we're able to drive traffic to that you have control over, check. We'll work on making it amazing later. Number 2, we need some kind of social presence. We definitely, for the love of all things holy, do not want to be on all of these different platforms at the same time. You want to talk about overwhelm and stretching yourself too thin and delivering subpar results. That's the fast track to that one. Rather, what we want to do is we want to identify the best ones for you and for your business and your customers. More on that in just a second. And then, of course, email. We need some way of following up and nurturing the leads. Now, for service-based businesses, especially local, we also have another trick up our sleeve, which is SMS, or text message marketing. Incredibly powerful when done right. We'll talk more about that in a second. But for now, this is where I want to focus, on this social aspect of things. So if we look at social, we've got all of these different platforms we can choose, right? TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all of that. Your personal preferences here, it's going to come off a little bit harsh, I apologize in advance, but your personal preferences here do not matter. Neither do mine, really. I'm what I like to call platform ambiguous. I just don't care. Whether it's YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, I'm going to go where you are, where I'm able to meet you, where I'm able to help you, where I'm able to serve you. If you want to go somewhere else and another platform, I'll go there with you. We can all go together. We'll be like a block party, bit of a community party. Wherever you decide to go, that's where I'm going. Which means that it doesn't matter if there's this Blue Sky or Threads or whatever the latest, coolest kid on the block is. If you're not using it, I'm not wasting my time there. Now, what do we do, right? Because how do we find out where our people are? Number 1 is we talk to them. So you've got to talk to your customers. Sounds obvious, but no one does it. You want the fast track to doing market research that actually pays your bills and makes you more money? Let's talk to your customers as much, as often as humanly possible. They will tell you where they spend their time. They will tell you what their pains and problems and fears and frustrations are. They will tell you what they want. They will tell you how you're best equipped to serve them. They will tell you all of the things they don't want. Shortcut number 1. Number 2, look at customers. Not in a creepy stalker hide in the bushes way, but in a customer data kind of way. Taking a look at your best 10, 50, 100 previous customers, right? So list out all your customers, write them all out here. We're going to pretend there's hundreds of these people all going down the list. And then what I want you to do is I want you to identify the top segment of those customers, okay? Top 20%. And I want you to look for the similarities that they have amongst them. I want you to look at 3 areas in particular. Demographic details, age, gender, income, occupation. I want you to look at geographic details, what city, state, province, country they live in. I want you to look at psychographic details. Psycho for short. What are their attitudes, their beliefs, their values, their lifestyles, their interests? What groups are they a part of? What organizations? All of those things. And that is going to steer you in the right direction. When you put all of these 3 things together, demographic, geographic, psychographic, it becomes very clear where to spend your time and where and which social media channels you're going to want to focus on. That said, I appreciate that's still a little bit loose. So let's dial in a bit more. If you are serving, we're going to use some broad stereotypical generalizations here. That's what marketing is all about. I appreciate everybody is a unique, special snowflake. However, in marketing, we've got to group people in together. Otherwise, you're going to be trying to appeal to everybody at the same time. So if we're going to say age 35 plus, Facebook. 35 under, we'll go Instagram. We'll say 25 under, could use some TikTok. Everyone. If you don't mind making video content, which I strongly suggest, YouTube, those are going to be the big players here. Essentially, these guys, controlled by Meta. So when you start learning how to use, say, Facebook and Instagram, for example, and if you're brand new to all of this, these are by far the best places to start because they are the easiest. They've been around for the most amount of time compared to the other platforms, certainly in regards to established marketing channels. They deliver results. They also have organic and paid options, which means that you can run organic content, which is content that you don't pay for. You just post it. Then you can find your winning pieces of content and you can put a little bit of money behind it with paid content as well. So this is going to give you just an absolute ton of options. Now, are there other possibilities? Like if you're strictly B2B, you might want to look at LinkedIn. But even then, a lot of people get confused with, say, business to business or high ticket services, and they think, well, LinkedIn is the business platform, right? Perhaps, but those people also probably use Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and Twitter in some cases. It's just going to be there in a slightly different context. So these are really good places to start. You really can't go wrong with them. Yes, still, even today. Okay, next up, we've got to talk, or we're going to go a little deeper into the acquisition system itself. So number one is we've got to identify who your ideal customers are, where they're present and active online, and you've got to go there. You've got to make sure that you're spending time where they're actually spending time and not just places that you think they might be or where you might want to be. But then the question becomes, well, what do you do for them? How do you put yourself out there? How do you actually get and capture attention and turn attention into leads? And then how do you turn leads into clients and customers? The way that we're going to do this is through content. Let me bust open the whiteboard of truth and justice again. Content. Now, you don't have to make this all yourself. You can have team members make it. You can do simple text posts. You can create long form videos. There's an endless amount of options here. The point is, we've got to do a couple key things. The first of which is that we've got to identify our market, aka ideal customer. Then we've got to show them you and your business, aka your business. Now, they're over here on this side of our fictional dotted line here. We've got to get them over to that side, which means that we have got to meet them where they are by showing them that we understand them, showing them that we understand their pains and problems and fears and frustrations, showing them that we can empathize with them, showing them that we understand and speak their language and all of the things that we need to become relatable, likable, authorities, experts. And then once we've established that trust, which by the way, this does not take weeks and months and years. This can be done very quickly, sometimes in a matter of minutes, often in seconds if we do the right things, if we say the right things. But then we have to show them how we are going to help them cross over to you. And that's what this is about. Message, aka content. A lot of AKAs here today. AKA, aka content. That's it. That's what we're doing here. We're trying to communicate messages. Now, how do we do this effectively when we're creating content for social media, for emails, for websites? A couple different things. I call these Wrong color. There we go. We'll do it this way. Miracles and miseries. You need to identify, make sure I spell it right. There we go. You need to identify your ideal clients, customers, patients, members, whoever it is, miracles and miseries, so you can help them cross the gap away from all of the current pain that they're in to where they want to be. So this is current pain, and this is desirable future. Especially when you're selling services, we're not selling anything tangible. They can't hold it or feel it or drink from it or taste it or anything like that. So the only thing that we're selling them is an ideal future. We're trying to clearly communicate that we understand where they are. We have the path to take them to where they want to go. And then we back it up with case studies and testimonials and proof and stories and all of that other stuff later. So let's break down miracles. These are pains, problems, fears, frustrations, nightmares, bad things. Okay, here we go. These are goals, wants, miracles, goals, wants, dreams, needs to some extent, good things, good stuff. It's a marketing term. We've got to show them, we understand where they are, we can get them to where they want to go, and we can show them this number of different ways. A few easy ways to communicate this are, number one, by showing your process. So we take people from step 1, then we show them step 2, then step 3, then step 4, then step 5. So this helps to establish trust and authority because you're showing them that you actually have a plan. You're not just like, yeah, we're going to fix stuff and you'll be better. The other is testimonials. So this is other people showing. So we can showcase previous clients, previous results that you've gotten. You can do a similar thing with a case study, which is essentially a combination of like a testimonial and a process where you're taking the steps that you walked someone through and showing them the end results. And of course, stories. Meet Joe. Joe was here. We helped him with this. Now he's over here. This is how we do it. All of these things can help. We can also use statistics and research and studies and all kinds of other stuff to move them over. So that's what we need to be posting. Now, let's keep on going because we've got a lot of different platforms. Let's say that we've established that we're going to do Instagram. We're serving, a 33-year-old female. That's our target demographic, our ideal customer avatar that we've worked out. So female, 35. We've decided we're going to go Instagram. Now, inside of the Instagram world, we've got a lot of different tools to choose from as well, which is why this starts to get a little bit confusing and a little overwhelming, and why there really is no clear sort of one-size-fits-all prescription, but what there is a set of strategic steps that you can take. I mean, just think about how far we've come already. We've taken all of marketing and we've narrowed it down to say online. We've then taken all of online and we've stripped it down to a few basics of like probably a website, some kind of social, email, we'll talk about in a second. Then we've taken social and we've stripped out 99% of the platforms and we've arrived on Instagram because this is, in our fictional example here, though it's a pretty common one, this is our ideal customer avatar's main platform that she spends the most time on. So now we're inside of Instagram and we can figure out where we're going to allocate our resources. I mean, of course, we've got things like Reels. We've got carousel posts. We have just regular posts. We've got stories. We've got lives. We've got all kinds of different things to choose from. That said, there's going to be one that I want to steer you towards here, and more platforms are adopting this, so I feel like it's a pretty safe bet, and that's going to be Reels with a comment to DM. With comment to DM strategy. I should have written that in a different color because it's this is a big one and it's worth unpacking. We'll just circle it in blue. The beauty of this, you can do this on Facebook as well. Other platforms are rolling this out, but the comment to DM strategy is actually very simple. What you do is you go on Instagram and you make, say, a reel. There we go. That's a reel. And here I am talking. I don't know why I had to write out talking, but there we have it. So here's Adam and I'm talking. And this is my reel. And what I'm going to say in my reel is comment or leave the word start. Comment start below and I'll send you a free guide. Comment start below and I'll send you more details. Comment start below and I'll send you a discount code. Comment start below and I'll hook you up with access to a cheat sheet to something. We call the thing that we're hooking them up with a lead magnet because we are offering them something of value in exchange for their contact details. They then become a lead. But this is where the magic happens. This person then comments can never remember which one's the blue one and which one's the red one, if it's them or me, but let's just say they leave a comment and they say start. Then automatically, thanks to automations, I can send them a URL, a whole bunch of words automatically. What this allows me to do, it allows me to create content. Then I can simply embed or talk about, hey, comment start below, or comment this below, or your business or agency or coaching or whatever it is. They'll leave a comment on the post. My automation will automatically respond to that post. By the way, I'll make sure to put a link in the descriptions below with all of the automations and tools and all of that I use. You'll be able to get access to it for free through a free trial. Anyway, all that below. Then the automation sends a response to the comment. Then it sends them a direct message through Instagram or Facebook or whatever you're using. And then we can carry on the conversation. Again, all of this is completely hands-free. In fact, this is the strategy we use to generate 5,000 leads a day. What we're doing is we're creating content. We're having some word like start or agency or coaching or whatever. Someone comments, we automatically get their details, send them something of value in return, and Bob's your uncle. So now you're out there, you're making stuff, you're commenting, DM, lead acquisition stuff, all of that magic automation things are working like, well, magic. What do we do now? Now is where email comes into play, and possibly SMS as well. And the reason is because far too often business owners will spend all of this time and money and energy on, say, Google ads or Facebook ads or creating organic content. They'll go to all of this effort to get in front of their ideal customers, and then they just sort of let it fizzle out and nothing happens. They're not capturing the lead. And if they are capturing the lead, they're not nurturing the lead. They're not engaging with it and essentially providing more value and staying top of mind. So all of the steps, all of the effort and time and money that's gone up to this point in order to make it happen is completely wasted. We do not want that to happen. So what do? Very simple. We just put in a very simple nurture sequence. And again, of course, all of this can be done automatically with automations, augmented with AI, all that fancy pants stuff that we're doing now. But here's the deal. We capture a lead. So we have traffic, right? Traffic being, in this case, or our previous example, Instagram. The traffic then goes to either a landing page, an opt-in form, or we can use comment to lead automations, right? So we say, hey, comment start below. We'll send you this thing. We then have a lead. This is where most people stop. Right there. Tragic. Such a waste. What we want to do is we want to take this lead and then we want to guide them through a nurture sequence. What is a nurture sequence? All it is a series of messages that can be delivered primarily through email. We can also do it through retargeting ads. We can also do it through SMS or text message marketing, but primarily through email, where we're going to introduce ourselves, empathize with them, offer them more value, indoctrinate them into your business, show them how you can help them, make offers. That's really it. Typically, in a perfect world, I'd like to see this nurture sequence never end. Essentially, there's this, it's a pretty morbid saying, but like, when do you stop following up with someone? It's like when they buy or die. Again, bit morbid, bit tragic there, but that's kind of it. We want to keep offering value and supporting and encouraging and making offers to them until they either buy something from you or say, no thanks, get lost, unsubscribe, whatever, and then they move on, which is good. We want people to do that. The worst answer in all of sales and marketing is maybe. What we're looking for is clear yeses and clear nos. Because if they say yes, fantastic, you can help them. If they say no, that's fantastic as well. That means that your offer wasn't right for them and they can go somewhere else and they can free up more of your time and your money and your energy to focus on the people that you most want to serve. So again, email sequence is the primary way. We can do retargeting ads. I'm going to slightly suggest that's slightly more advanced. If your business is doing, let's say, north of 20 to 50 grand a month, then we'll look at retargeting ads. And of course, we have SMS/text message marketing. This is a must for local service-based businesses. If you're like a local gym, for example, and you're not using some kind of nurturing with SMS and text message marketing, when someone opts in for get a free 7-day pass to your gym or 14-day trial or free personal training session, madness, I tell you, madness. You got to be using this. It's just, it's a money printer or the closest thing. So that is how we then nurture. So once we have that, what next? Now we need to work on retention. So retention is another spot. A lot of business owners drop the ball. So we've got traffic, we've created content, we've established the lead, we've brought the lead into your world. We have nurtured the lead so that we're showing them your offers and we're giving them more case studies and testimonials. How do we make sure they stick around? Well, there's a couple key things here. And I'm going to say that there is slight differences between nurturing a lead and nurturing a customer, but I want you to keep in mind that that we really can't, there's no such thing as over delivering at this stage. We want to do something called shock and awe. I believe this was a concept I first learned from Dan Kennedy, but what this means is that we're overwhelming people with a positive initial experience. So when someone first joins your email list, obviously they haven't given you any money yet. So the expectations for getting like a ton of value in return aren't that high. But the second someone gives you even $1, they expect the world, which is why we typically want to charge higher prices than lower prices. More on that another time. What we do want to do though is we want to make sure that we're always over delivering. Now, one of the biggest causes of buyer's remorse or customer regret is a customer will buy something and then they'll not hear anything back for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. There have been purchases I've made where I didn't get receipts or confirmation for days, which is insane, right? Because you're wondering, did this work? Did I just get ripped off? What's even happening here? So what we want to do is the second someone either signs up as a lead or makes a purchase, even more so if they make a purchase, we want to confirm their awesomeness. I'm just going to say confirm. Confirm their awesomeness. Congratulations, my friend. You just made a fantastic decision. Hey, welcome to the family. So great to have you here. Just want to reach out personally and congratulate you on this purchase or joining the list. Anything like that. We want to confirm that they are a smart, charismatic, good-looking, amazing person, and they've just made the best decision ever by joining you and joining your business. This helps immediately to mitigate feelings of remorse and regret because we've just established that, yes, they have made the right decision, and yes, we are here that's able to help them. Number 2, next steps. This can all happen, by the way, in the same piece of communication. We can do this through a single email, though I recommend you do it all in one email, then you remind them the next email, remind them the next, because open rates and the way that people check and consume this information. So what are the next steps? All right, so you're awesome. You're here. Fantastic. So good to have you. Here's what to do next. Step 1, use your thing or sign this up or do this other thing or whatever it is. Step 2, stay tuned for more, follow up here, do whatever else. We want to make it crystal clear on exactly what they need to do next. There's an expression that I love, which happens before the sale, which is confused customers don't buy. Well, after the sale, confused customers just get really angry. So make it crystal clear. What should they be doing? And then of course, how to contact or get more information. So for example, every time you sell something, you may not have a ton of ways for them to contact you. Shoes, for example, like if you're selling a pair of shoes, it's not like you can call the CEO and the shoe company and be like, hey, how do I get a extra size or new insole? I don't know, whatever. This is different. We want to say, by the way, if you have any questions, here's our support line. Here's our email. You can reply to this email. Here's our community. Here's our social media channels. Here's how to do this. Here's how to do that. We want to make sure that they feel supported. And then of course, what to expect. We sort of briefly touch on this in the next steps, but this is like a continuation of what's next. So we've confirmed they're in the right place and they're smart, beautiful people. We've established next steps so they know exactly what's coming and what they should be doing. We've shown them how to contact and what to do and where to reach out and all of that. And then of course, what to expect. Here's where I'm going to send you another email tomorrow. I'm going to be reaching out personally in the next 24 hours. I'm going to be reviewing your application in the next 48 hours. My team is going to get back to you within 5 to 7 business days. We appreciate that's a little longer than normal, but we want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence, blah, blah, blah. All of those things. All of those will contribute to shock and awe. And of course, if you sell something incredibly expensive, you can mail them a gift. If you sell anything for over, let's say $2,000, $3,000, spending even $50 to $100 on something thoughtful and considerate and putting it in the mail and sending it to them is a game changer for your business. I kid you not. In fact, let's share a secret. The single best bang for your buck gift that I've ever given and continue to in secret ways is this: mail order brownies. Not cookies, not fruit, flour arrangements, not anything else. Mail order brownies. You can just Google it. I'm sure there's a ton of companies out there. Do some market research and order yourself some brownies. But if you can send somebody like a $50 to $100 Feel free to extend these up or down as you see fit. Box of brownies for them to have with a personal note that the company sends out. All of this is handled for you, completely automated as well. Again, game changer. Like the amount of goodwill and it's funny, like of all the consulting work that I've done and the rates that we've had to charge in the past, everybody always loves the brownies. They're always super ecstatic about the ROI and the money that we've made, but like we could make a company an extra $10 million. And the thing that they rave about is the brownies. Wish I should start a mail order brownie company. Next business idea. Okay. So at this point, you've got your system, you've got your traffic, you've got people coming in, we've got nurture sequences, we've established where people are hanging out. All of that's good. The next question is, how do we know what's working? How do we take all of the work that you've just done and magnify it, amplify it, 10x it, 100x it? Well, the only way to do that is we've got to get crystal clear on your metrics and your numbers. And I appreciate that sounds boring. Analytics, metrics, numbers, Adam, come on, bro, what are you doing? But the fact is, if you know your numbers, you will make more money. How much more? Orders of magnitude more. There's probably a line that I can look back over the past decade plus in my business where it's like pre-knowing my numbers where we did fine. And then after knowing my numbers and the business just took off exponentially. And it was simply because we were able to get rid of all of the channels and platforms and strategies and all of the things that weren't working and focus exclusively on, again, those 5 or 10% things that were giving us the 90 or 95% of our results. So with that said, here are some of the numbers that you need to be aware of. The first of which is probably the most important. Lifetime value. This is one of the most important numbers to know. Sometimes referred to as CLV, customer lifetime value. Lifetime value of client. How much is a client worth to your business over their lifetime? How do you figure this out? One of which is you can look at your CRM, look back through your data and your records and figure out, most software will allow you to show that exactly. And then you're going to be able to figure out what the average is of that. This is where we're going to want to look beyond just our top 20%. We're going to kind of want to look at all of your different customers and clients in the business, but we want to figure out how much is a client worth to your business. For example, let's say you sell something for $1,000. And people typically pay $1,000 a year and they stick around for 5 years. Well, $5,000. That's your average lifetime value. On the other hand, if you're selling something like a one-off pack of gum, I don't know, and it's $1, and people typically buy that pack of gum, but then it's really bad gum, so they never come back. Well, then your lifetime value is $1. This is why it's important to know. We need to figure out how much a customer is worth so that we can then establish our next number, which is our CAC, customer acquisition cost. Acquisition cost, also sometimes referred to as cost of customer acquisition. All of these things are a little bit interchangeable. Customer acquisition cost. How much does it cost you to acquire a customer? The way we figure this out is we look at all of the money that you're spending on different channels and platforms, obviously factor in your time here. Then you're going to be able to allocate a number to it. So let's use some easy math here. Let's say, and ideally we want to break this out by channel. Important note. So let's say that we're using just 2 platforms for now, Facebook and Instagram. Let's say that we've spent $100 on Facebook through organic content. So we're going to call it Facebook Organic. And we spent $100 because we hired someone for $20 an hour. They were 5 hours, cost $100, just organic content. And that gave us, we'll say, 1 client. Easy numbers for easy math. Instagram, on the other hand, we spent $100 and we just ran ads. So we found one simple ad. We ran an ad to that one, and that gave us 2 clients. Now what we can see is that our CAC, let's write it in different colors here. Our CAC for Facebook, $100 equals 1 client. So that equals $100. $100 cost of acquisition. Our CAC for Instagram is $50 because we take 100 divided by 2 and gives us 50. Now, the reason this is important, if it's not already clear, is that we now have a lower cost of acquisition for Instagram, which means that if you were my client and we were looking down at all these numbers, I'd be like, how could we take our $100 Instagram and spend $200 or $500? Honestly, or $1,000 or $2,000 or $5,000. How long can we keep this going in order to keep delivering the same cost of acquisition? Now, with ads, there is diminishing returns. There is going to be a point where we're not always going to be getting $50 clients from it. But this is the thing that I want you to be taking a look at, is like, of all of your different marketing channels, which ones are responsible for bringing you not just the most, but the best clients at the cheapest rates? Because then we want to focus in on there. And in fact, I'm going to give you another tip. This is my not so secret weapon. When I'm working with a client, or if we're going over their materials and I'm looking for an easy win right off the bat, what I ask them to do is look back over the past year. I'm not going to write them all out, but like January, February, March, April, etc., etc. And what I want them to find are their 2 highest months for revenue. Say, in this case, we're going to say February and April were their 2 highest revenue months. Then what I want them to do, and this is going to blow your mind, I want them to look and tell me what they did. That's really it. Let's say in February they ran, Instagram ads. And in April they set up comment to lead automations. Guess what we're going to be doing again for May, June, July, August, September, October? Guess what we're going to be trying again? We're going to probably run some more Instagram ads. We're going to make sure that we have a comment to lead automation set up. Way too many business owners and entrepreneurs, marketers, creators, everybody, they forget that success leaves clues. They forget that what you've done in the past that has worked successfully will probably work again. Yes, there are changes to algorithms and buyer behavior and consumer behavior and things like that. But more often than not, the proven marketing fundamentals that have worked before will probably work again. Good example here. If you look back, especially if your business is doing email marketing, which it absolutely should be, and you spend some time and some energy and some money writing out a really good marketing campaign, I want you to use it again. I want you to go back through, look over the past year, past 2 years, past 3 or 4 or 5, find your best performing email marketing campaigns, copy and paste them, maybe rewrite them and refresh them so they're current and they're relevant, but you can resend them again. And you can do this again and again and again, basically forever. One of my earliest copywriting mentors used to write 365 emails. So he wrote an email a day, which really isn't that much work. He wrote 1 email a day and he did it for a year straight. And then what he did is he looked at all of his open rates, his click-through rates, all of his metrics, his cost of acquisition, et cetera, et cetera. And he went and he rewrote the ones that were the lowest performers and he kept the best performing ones. And he did this for years. So year 1, wrote 365 emails. Year 2, he refreshed and edited, fixed them. Year 3, refreshed, edited, so on. Guess what I do? Or guess what I've done? I tend to do slightly more of a newsletter style thing just because I enjoy writing. But if I were really trying to set this up on a truly automated way, and I have in the past, in fact, one of the stories that I've told a few times before is that when my second son was born, had a couple health scares and we ended up in the hospital and we weren't sure what was going on and I was freaking out and I was way too emotionally distraught to work. I went into my email provider and I pressed send. And I had, I think it was a month or 2 pre-written emails from my best templates all set up. So I just hit send and they went out like clockwork. I had retargeting ads running as well. So it looks like I was still there every day, creating content, providing value, making sales, making offers. And in that very trying and traumatizing time, he's fine now, by the way, the business actually made more money. So I wasn't working at all, not just not working a little, I wasn't working. And the business made more money. And it was all because of the work that had gone in to set up this system. So of course, incredibly valuable to do, but go through it, rewrite them, make sure they're all polished and spiffy, and it'll pay you off for years to come. All right, my friend. So that's the plan. Go make it happen. If you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave them down below. And otherwise, I've linked up a video right over here that's going to give you even more of my top marketing strategies to help you grow your business, get more leads, close more sales, all of the good things, all of the reasons that we're in this business for the first place. So feel free to tap or click that now and catch you again soon.